God spoke to Joseph in a dream and told him that one day his brothers would bow down to him. Now, if you knew how jealous his brothers were of him and how much they hated him, then you would know how impossible this could have seemed. But Joseph could trust that whatever God said would happen will always happen. Now, if I told you that I could cut a hole in this paper big enough to fit my whole body through, would you trust me? Well, I'm going to try my very best. But sometimes as people, we can break our promises. But in Proverbs 3 verse 5, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." And so we know that whenever God says something, it will always happen. So when Joseph's brothers found out about his dream, they became really angry. And in fact, they threw him into a deep well. I don't think his brothers are going to climb into the well and bow down to him. But Joseph could trust that whatever God said would happen will always happen. But then Joseph's brothers sold him as a slave. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anybody bowing down to a slave. But Joseph could trust that whatever God said would happen will always happen. Joseph was taken far away to a place called Egypt. Now, I don't think his brothers are going to travel all the way to Egypt to bow down to him. But God helped Joseph, and soon he was put in charge of the house where he was working. Things were actually starting to look up for Joseph. But then someone told lies about Joseph, and he was thrown into prison. I don't think his brothers are going to bow down to him in prison. But Joseph could trust that whatever God said would happen will always happen. Then God helped Joseph to explain the dreams of the king. And the king freed Joseph from prison and made him second in charge of the land of Egypt. Now, the king's dreams were actually a warning that a great drought was going to come. But God gave Joseph the wisdom to store away food for that time. So when Joseph's brothers ran out of food, they traveled all the way to Egypt to buy some. And when they got there, they didn't realize that the man in charge was Joseph. And they bowed down to him. Do you see? What God had told Joseph would happen, happened. And when God speaks to us and God promises us things, even though it might seem impossible, we know that we can trust in the Lord with all our heart and not lean on our own understanding. Because whatever God says will always happen.